Well, let's get it popping. We gave everybody enough time. I started 5 minutes early and I waited an extra 5 minutes, even though I'm still late. Uh, Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited. I have some important information in this session here. We're gonna start building business credit today. We're gonna dive into some advanced classes. We're gonna be talking about this class is pretty much part two of the first class. So this is for people who already established their LLC, EIN, and got a bank account. And if you didn't do that, just go back and watch the old video, and that will give you more clarity. But we're gonna go over establishing vendor credit, opening up business credit cards, building relationships with lender, and monitoring your credit, your business credit. By the end of this class, you should be able to take actionable steps to implement them into your business immediately. So grab a pen, let's get it popping. First, we're going to discuss establishing vendor credit. And by the way, guys, anytime you have a question, you can either write it down on the chat or you can go on mute, say a couple words or whatever, or ask whatever you need. You know how I feel about the questions. So the more questions, the better. I feed off your energy. And yeah, that's how I like to work. So whatever you guys provide for me, the more questions, the better the class. So we're gonna talk about establishing vendor credit. Let's start with vendor credit, also known as net 30 accounts. Vendor credit is one of the easiest way to start building your business credit, and you kind of build a beautiful portfolio around the vendoring credit establishments, and therefore you look good on paper. These accounts, these net 30s, for that those that don't know, net 30s are accounts that give you 30 days to pay the goods. So pretty much you get something and you have 30 days to pay it. So it's almost like a credit card, but it's only for that establishment. And after you do that a couple times, they'll start reporting it to your business credit bureaus. Why does vendor credit matters? Well, vendor is very important because it establishes a payment history for your business. A solid history on time payment, making your business more attractive to lenders and creditors. So this is huge. By getting and by the end of these, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a couple of vendors. In fact, I'll give you guys some vendor nows like Uline, Quilt, Grinder. These companies are also known to report to the business credit bureaus like Dan and Bradstreet. I don't know if you guys remember, like I said, this is kind of like a part two of the first class. When the first class I talked about like the Dun and Bradstreet number, which is like your secondary social security for the business. This is kind of a place where all the lenders and vendors go to see and to monitor your business credit. So business credit is not like personal credit where you have TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. And here you only have two of those, and then you have like Navi, and then you have Dun and Bradstreet. So this is a place where you, like I said, you start building credit, and it will start reporting to these places. So look at Dun and Bradstreet as one of the bureaus, but for business. You place small orders, and this is how, excuse me, this is how you're able to kind of build off of them. You don't have to go all out, like spend thousands of dollars in these companies. What you really want to do is just build a history and a payment on time history. So you're building a history of purchasing, and then you're building a history of paying on time. So you could just get small things. So purchase a small order. You don't need to go overboard. For example, order office supplies and cleaning supplies, right? And then these are $50, $75 type of things. Pay your invoice early. This shows creditors that you are reliable and help build a positive payment history. So I am not sharing my screen. I'm not sharing my screen now. I kind of didn't shave or cut my hair today, so there's no face today. No face, no case. But this is being recorded, and if you do go to my channel on business and personal credit, I pretty much have all these things up there. I just have them all broken down into different sections, but they are in my channel. So if you go to my channel and click on business credit, you'll see a whole bunch of business information. If not, I'll drop one later on after the video in the channel. So let me give you guys an example. Let's say you open up a credit with Uline. Everybody knows who Uline is. They are pretty big and they're pretty everywhere, pretty much everywhere. You order $50 worth of supplies. Once you receive your invoice, pay it well before your 30 days deadline. This is this will get you reported to the credit bureaus, and it improves and it shows that your business is paying on time. Therefore, starts building business credit. So let me vendor application tips. Ensure your business information is like your name, your address, your EIN, all the information that I gave you guys in class one. Remember, like I was mentioning, I'm gonna keep referencing back to the first class because they go hand in hand. If you missed the first class, this will kind of give you a little insight of what we was talking about. But I mentioned in class one that you have to build an identity for the business that is separate from you. So the business must have his own name, his own EIN, his own address, things of that nature. So when you're filling up these applications, make sure that matches as well. And you're going to get a Dun& and Bradstreet number, and you're going to be able to utilize that number. That's what helps report to the Dun& and Bradstreet. I believe is after you have like 4 vendors, they'll start reporting to the Dun& and Bradstreet. So it won't just be the first one automatically. And this is why we have to establish these things. And then, we're going to talk about secondary vendors later, like Home Depot, Lowe's, and things of that nature. Costco, you want to build credit with these companies too. So, make sure, ensure your business information like your name, address, and EIN matches exactly across all documents and accounts. Some vendors may require a few initial payments from before they start reporting, so be prepared for this. Keep records of your orders and payment to track your progress. After today's sessions, I would like for you guys to do some research. I'm not going to give you all the gems because you got to put in some work yourself. You got to show me that you want it. So, what I would do is, whenever you guys get some time or after this class, go on the internet, do some research on some vendors that you can apply for to start building credit with. All right. So I gave you guys 3 there. Like I said, I will be dropping some of this in the chat so you guys can see it. But start with the Uline. Uline is a big one. Everybody uses them. Quilt and Grinder. And Uline pretty much has everything. Quill is more like supplies, and then the Grinder is more like tools and stuff, like things of that nature. Okay. You guys have any questions before we move on to the second tip?
I do. When establishing credit with these vendors, I know you said like small purchases, but is there an amount that would make you look, I guess, better? Like, is there a certain target amount that we should be aiming for? Like before maybe like asking for like a business loan or something like that? Like how deep do you want your I guess your like your credit history file to be? Like we should
One
do this
second,
like
I just
six.
dropped my headphones. I
Okay.
heard what you said though. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. I heard what you said. So in business, when they do report your credit, it's not like personal where they report a certain amount. They just report that you made a payment history. So there's not necessarily, especially at the beginning. Now, when you get in deeper,
Hmm.
Later on, with credit cards and loans, then they'll start reporting those things. But as far as like the first tier of vendors, they don't really report the dollar amount. That's why you're not. I mean, you could choose to use these vendors whenever you want, but the whole purpose is just to establish
Yeah, establish the
payment.
line of credit, right?
Yeah,
Payment
you're
history.
establishing line of credit, and then you're establishing payment. So initially, that's really the whole purpose of the first tier is you want to report payment history. Oh, this person is paying, and everybody's gonna get different. So I believe the way Uline does it, because I haven't done it in a while, but I believe the way they do it is that you go in and you kind of shop around and put everything in your cart, and then right before payment is when they offer you the thing. So everyone is um, a little different. It all depends on how you start, and they'll be like, "Hey, we're gonna offer you $200 or $500, whatever it may be." But again,
Right.
you're not gonna utilize the whole amount. You just want to utilize a few things and then make the payment. I believe the prices are a little high than you going to like a Staple or Office Depot or or whatever your local store is.
Okay.
The whole purpose of this is just to establish payment history and to establish tier one vendors. You want to have at least four or five of these things
Right.
before.
And
Go
my
ahead.
sorry, my next question, does the utilization percentage matter? I mean, I know like personal credit you want to stay under like what, 30%. Now, does that also apply to like business or like you don't want to max it out, right?
That does not apply for business, but you don't want
Okay.
to max it out because again, you want to be able to pay the whole thing. And if you're gonna go spend $500 when you could get the same product for $200, it wouldn't make any sense. So I would suggest to just stay small, buy a couple of things, make your payment, and then continue to shop wherever you shop. You could do this two or three times just to establish two or three payments. Because, like I said, business is a little different. They don't
Uh-huh.
necessarily report the utilization or the dollar amount. They just report, hey, Bree made a payment, boom, that's it. And then they'll establish the payment history. That's why you'll do it for 2 3 months. A 2 3 months of payment history, and then once you do that, they're gonna start extending your credit. And then what you want to do is just hold on to it, and then you always use it for backup.
Right.
Like I always tell people with the personal credit is the same way. You kind of want to get as much credit as you want. You don't necessarily have to use it, but you always have it there for something. You know, any emergencies, any kind of case. Hey, I don't have funds right now, but I need this. I could go always get it here. Got 30 days to pay it. Boom.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course. I appreciate your question. That was a good question. Anybody else got some questions? Okay, okay. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the second tier of this conversation, which will be opening up business credit cards. Once you start building credit with your vendor, the next step is to apply for business credit cards. Business credit card not only help you separate personal and business expense, but it also helps you boost your credit profile if used correctly. So, establishing business credit. Uh, Now, later on during the end of this conversation, I'll show you guys the difference on how you could start it this way, and then if you already have good credit, then I could kind of use your credit as a personal guarantor to boost expedite the process. But for those that don't have credit or for those that are starting new and building business, this is a real good step here to help you guys establish. So for business credit, remember the whole purpose of all this is to try to eventually get into a corporate card where you could pretty much get whatever you want. And then that's when you buying big equipment. You could max it out 30,000, 50,000, 100,000. But slow pace wins the race, right? We're not going to sprint to in a marathon because you're going to end up in the back. So that's the whole purpose of why we're going through these steps, and why we're going through it in this direction rather than just skip and do shortcuts, which we can do, but you want to establish an identity for the business, like I mentioned in class one. Okay, so you want to look for credit cards like um, like gas cards, Capital One, Sparks, Blix. They have a couple of different ones. Like I said, I would definitely be dropping these things in the Discord in my channel, so you'll be able to see all of the kind of business cards that you could get. But you want to go for things that you do already. So, like I said, you could go to Home Depot, you could go to Lowe's. You want to get like gas cards, whatever gas station, like BP gas stations, and like I said before, you want to be able to make sure that all information is consistent across all board, like your LLC information, the name, the EIN, the address, the 1-800 number, and you want to make sure that that's in the application as the business info. And then later on, if they do ask you for a personal credit, if personal credit is considered, ensure your credit is in good standings. So, like I mentioned before, sometimes some of these companies is gonna ask you for a personal guarantor, and if your credit score is above 680 and you don't have collections or no derogatories, then consider it. Consider it using your personal credit. And what that's going to do is going to open up the window where you get a bigger limit. So you'll be able to get, instead of 1,000, you'll get 10,000. And then later on, I'll teach you guys how to remove that inquiry from your personal credit once you already get the credit. So, for example, if you have to do a personal guarantor, you sign it. Like I said, you got to make sure you 680 and above, no collections, no derogatories, anything of that nature that's gonna hurt your credit. If you do have these things, just go ahead and sign for it directly. Um, like I said, you might start low, but slow and steady wins the race. And you want to make sure your utilizations is down. Now, Bree, this goes for you because you did ask about the credit utilization. Now, in the credit cards, the credit utilizations does matter. So you want to keep your utilization the same thing, below 30% of your credit limit. All right. But just remember that business credit acts a little different than personal credit, as for business credit, you have a larger amount because it's understanding that in business you use more money. Excuse me. Damn. So in business you use more money, so you do have more leverage and more room to play with. But still consider keeping it under 30% for the credit cards, not the vendors. For the vendors, there is no dollar amount reported. For the credit cards, obviously there is. And like I said, always remember to have the business information for the credit cards. Now, a personal guarantor, they'll just be adding you as like a co-signer. Make sure you pay off your balance in full every month to avoid interest charges. So if the cards don't have no interest, then that's something different. But if you are paying interest, obviously as a business owner, you want to avoid those interest charges unless you created an asset that's paying the interest charge and making you some money. That's another case. Use the card for regular business expense like advertising, supplies, or traveling. I want to give you guys another clue here for those that like to travel. If you own a business, you are never on vacation. You are always traveling. Traveling, you get to write off. Vacation, you can't. Just make sure that while you're traveling, you take a picture of it. You write a real quick note that you're doing a meeting. Maybe when you go out to eat, you report that meeting. Hey, 8:30, we went out to eat in a meeting. You take a picture of the meeting, quote unquote, and you utilize that for your taxes, and that should be a tax write-off. All right. So just want to make sure that you guys remember though, don't want to be using the business card for personal unless you have to. But let's always try to avoid that factor. You want to make sure that you're using it for business so you could write all these things off. You don't want to get audited at the end of the year. Here's a pro tip, man. For those cards that do give cash back, you want to make sure you benefit, take advantage of these things, take advantage of the perks to reinvest into your business. So get those cash backs, get those groceries, get those traveling points, whatever it may be. Let me give you guys an example. If you have a business spending of 500 per month on advertising, using a cashback credit card could earn you $6 to $10 back each month over time. These savings add up. So this goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning. Slow and steady wins the race, right? So you just want to keep using it. These $6 and $10 later on become more because your expense gets larger, or your advertising gets bigger, or your marketing gets bigger or larger. So then you utilize these things. Okay, I got something else for you guys. Write down one recruiting business expense you can start paying with a business credit card. So think about one thing that you're gonna pay for every month. I'm gonna give you guys a real quick, I'm gonna throw you a bone. For those that are establishing business, you will have to get a 1-800 number. I don't pay for it for the year. You can, but it's gonna save you $10. But instead of saving the $10, what I would do is I would just add those $10 monthly payment to the business credit card. Therefore, making sure that I get charged every month, but I now am keeping the card active and I'm making a payment. You could use that for iPostal, but most of the time people pay for the iPoster for the whole year round. All right. Any questions on this? Give them to me.
Could
Re-
could you also like utilize the business credit card, I guess, for like a business line? Like because I was researching like maybe like would you recommend like getting like a Verizon? I think Verizon, certain phone companies do like business lines. Do you know if those are like reported or if they're beneficial?
they are. I guess I'll touch up on it now, but yes, um, you kind of want to get everything into your business. So once you have a business, you want to utilize everything, maximize everything. So yes, for example, I have T-Mobile. I have T-Mobile under my business, and every month I pay it, and every month it reports. So even if it don't report, some of them don't, but some of them you kind of have to make them report. Like call and make sure you add it to the Dana Bradstreet experience or Equifax. So or net or the nav. Like I said, like I mentioned before, business does not use TransUnion. It's experience for business and Equifax. Uh, and what you want to do is just kind of add that and then report it so they could show every month. But yes, you want to add everything to the business. Get cell phones, get credit cards, whatever bill you could put under the business. Do that. Um, I'm gonna give you guys another bone since Bree's asking questions and I love it. See, this is how you get the gems. What's up, Rico Bands? I see you. Um, um, one of the tricks, man, I lost my train of thought. One of the tricks that I'm gonna give you guys a gem. If you have a vehicle that you're making monthly payments on it, what you could do is if you have a vehicle and you have a business, what you could do is you could write yourself a letter, right? Well, you leasing the vehicle from the business. So let's say your payments are $500 a month. You could write a letter, an agreement between Elvin or Bree and BTM. And then what you're pretty much saying is that BTM is leasing, or that Bree is leasing this vehicle to BTM, and that they're going to be making monthly payments. So for them, it's going to be $500 plus an extra $100 for whatever miles, gas, whatever you want to put on it. You have to write this down, certify it, write it, sign it, and now is official. Every month that you make a payment on, at the end of the year, you're gonna present these. You got to keep your receipts. You present it to your accountants, and you're gonna write that off because the business is actually paying for it because the business is the one leasing the vehicle from you. So that's a little gem there.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Um, where we was at? Okay. Any other questions? Oh, I see Thomas got a question for me. Yes, you can max out your business credit cards, and it doesn't count against you unless you don't pay. But you better be sure to pay the business card. Yes, correct. Yes, yes. Um, let's go into we spoke about okay. Let's talk about building relationship with lenders. All right, this one's critical. This one's a big step. Now let's talk about building relationship with lenders. This is a critical step for accessing large credit lines, loans, and financing opportunities in the near future. With small banks and credit unions, local banks and credit unions offer more flexibility than large banks. They're also most likely to work with small businesses. So here's how we get started. Open up a business savings or a checking account with your local bank or credit union. I recommend to do both. Like I discussed in the first class, the more banks, the better, because later on, you're building multiple relationships rather than just work with one bank and just building relationship with one bank. You establishing long-term history with different banks, whether you're using the banks or not. Later on, that will come as the business will grow. But the whole purpose is to show length of history. Hey, this person's been with us 5, 10 years, right? They're gonna be established. They're still around. Let's help them get to the next level. Things of that nature. So the more banks, the better. But for those that are just starting off, maybe you could do one or two banks, or maybe you could do one bank and establish a checkings, a personal business savings, and things of that nature. But like I said before, small local banks and credit unions are more than likely to work with you rather than large banks. These large banks got money, they don't care about the small business. Eventually they do, but let's stick to the small banks because they're more likely to work with you. So yes, open up a business savings and a checkings account, local bank, deposit money consistently to show that your business is financially stable. Um, mm, yeah, let me drop this gem too. For some of those that are working, you could establish making frequent deposits from your check into the business and then pay some of the bills off like that. Like I mentioned, like let's say if you sign the car, if you sign like I just okay, let me use the same step that I just used for your car, your vehicle. Let's say you do happen to do that and you're making $500 payments. What I would do is I would take those $500, deposit it into my bank, into the business bank, and then make the payment through there, showing that the business is paying for the vehicle. That's one. So therefore, you get to write that off. And two is showing frequent deposits. The more deposits, the more consistent you are, the better it is. So yes, deposit money consistently to show that your business is financially stable. Schedule meetings. This one's crucial right here. What's up, Rick? Go ahead.
Okay, is it better to I'm sorry, I know I got a lot of questions,
You
but
good,
I
man.
want to
You
take
good. The more
advantage
questions, the
of
better. We're
this.
gonna we're gonna run through it no matter what.
Okay, so is it better to like personally deposit the money or like automatically have it come from like your payroll check into that account?
If you could create a payroll, that's even better because the more, so for business, the more paper trail you leave, the more established you look like. And when, let's say, God forbid, you do get audited, it's gonna be a 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's move on because everything is traceable and everything comes from a certain point. So the more, the better. If you do have a payroll, which I know a lot of small businesses don't have payrolls until they start getting established, and then they later on they'll start doing that. But for like this particular class, it's pretty much like you're getting started. So the reason I didn't mention payroll is because more than likely people don't that are getting started don't have a payroll company yet. But if you do, that's awesome. Throw it in there, put it through the payroll, even better.
No, I'm saying like from like my current 9 to 5 job. Like you know how like if you do direct deposit, you might can split a percentage between accounts. So like have part of like my work check be deposited into that account.
Okay, okay, I see what you're saying. Like almost like a direct deposit from the
Right.
payment of your
Yes, of my check.
payroll, your personal pay stub.
Yes.
So I would say no. I would
Okay.
say no, because then it just doesn't look like a payment of something. It just looks like a recruiting money into their account rather than a
Gotcha.
payment. If you either deposit cash or write a check, then that will be more like a paper trail.
Gotcha.
Rather than say, oh, this person is really not working for this money. This is coming from her paycheck. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean?
Gotcha. Yep.
So
Thank
you
you.
want to separate that. You want to take the money, either deposit it in cash and then have a note attached to it. This $500 is for car payment or whatever it may be, and then you just deposit it, and then obviously you're going to use it, and then at the end of the year or whenever you do your taxes for the business, you'll write that off because you have a paper trail of every single time. Let's say you write a check. Every time you write a check, you have a receipt for that check. So that'll be easier for your accountants to be able to just manage it and be like, okay, this is for that. This is for that. Okay, this is for that. Rather than money coming straight out of your personal, which then it looks like, okay, she's just funding it herself.
Got you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Um, and the reason for that is because you want to look like money is being generated, not you working for the money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good question. I love it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. Anybody else got a question? Okay. Um,
I, excuse me.
Go ahead.
I,
How
I
you doing,
don't.
Miss Thomas?
I'm doing well. Good to be
God
here
bless you.
tonight with everybody. Bless you as well. I just want to kind of add to what you were saying about the money from the accounts.
Yeah,
Um, and what you were saying is absolutely correct. And they don't want to see commingling.
correct.
If you getting it from your account to a business account, then it's kind of like it's like
You double dipping.
yes. So be
And
real, mindful of that. That's
yeah,
all I want to say.
good. That's good. Good answer. Yes, you double dipping, and they kind of see these things, and it's almost like they once they catch you, it's like, oh, she's trying to cheat the game. You know what I mean? So then you kind of get flagged and put into that little bubble. You just want to leave that paper trail where it looks like you're generating money rather than making the money. For like you're trading money, like you going in and working. This is like I actually got a job, got a gig, and generated money into the business. All right. Anybody else? All right. Where was I at? Deposit money consistently to show that your business is financially stable. This one's a big one here. A lot of people skip this one here. Schedule meetings with your business broker, banker to discuss their credit products such as line of credits or term loans. So again, this goes back to what I was talking about in class one. We don't do anything randomly. Anytime you sign up for a credit or application, you kind of already know their data points and you know exactly what they want. And all you're doing is making sure you meet those needs to generate and guarantee that you're going to get that money. So what you want to do is just call your bank up, whoever's your banker up, and say, "Hey, I want to talk to the business banker. Who's the broker here? Who's the lead investment management?" And you gotta. This is how you build relationship because sometimes the underwriting comes from them, and sometimes it goes through the system. This is when you do online applications, but if you go to the branch itself, and these people, you come in and they like, hey, what's up, credit juggernaut? They already know my face, they know who I am, I'm credible. They already know this guy's here every Friday. This guy's here every Monday and Wednesdays. I already know his routine. They already know you. This is how you build relationships. So you go to these banks, you set up a meeting with the investor or the broker, and then you start discussing products with them. And trust me, these people are gonna want to give you money because that's how they make money. So what they're gonna do is pick out once you start discussing what you guys want to do, what you're into, things of that nature. They're gonna kind of be like, okay, this product works for you, this product works for you, or this works for you. Hey, how about if we offer this? How about if you do this? So this goes back to what I was saying. You build relationship with your bankers, and you guarantee you're going to get better services and better products. They're going to give you products that are not even on the paperwork or the pamphlets, that are strictly for business owner who are in this type of business. Hey, you're a small business, okay, you medium business, or you're a large business, okay, we have these products for you. All right. Pro tip here. Don't just apply for credit. Build a relationship first, attending networking events or workshop hosted by the bank to connect with decision makers. This is exactly what I just said right now, right? You want to build relationships, you want to go to these workshops, you want to go to these events, you want to connect to the person that's the underwriting. And this person is going to be more lenient to you and going to say, you know what? We're going to give you this much, or we're going to do this. And they're going to kind of push everything through to make sure you get that money. All right. For example, a small business owner opened up a bank account at a local credit union, made a consistent deposit for the last 6 months, and then qualified for a 10,000 line of credit. Relationship matters. So this goes exactly to what we just discussed. Go to your local banks, make connections, greet everybody. Hey, how you doing? Sometimes I go to the bank just to do that, just to literally say hi. And I'm like, I'm gonna take out money instead of going to the ATM, right? I'll just go into the bank. Hey, how you doing, Wendy? Hey, how you doing, Jesse? Oh, how you doing, Jonathan? Everything good? They're gonna remember you, and they're gonna be like, man, this guy is such a good person, or this girl is such a good person. Let me work with them. Hey, come, let me pull you to the side. Let me see what I could do for you. So yes, building relationship matters, right? And if you're doing all the right steps, right, the first steps that we just discussed, if you're doing these things, you're doing everything in line, it makes it even easier for them to be like, man, this person is doing everything correctly. Let's give him money. Oh, this person is depositing money consistently. Let's give him money. Oh, this person has a checkings and a savings and a CD and an advertising and a marketing account. Let's give him this. Let's give him 100 grand just for marketing, right? Imagine having 100 grand just for marketing. How much more your business would expand and explode. You know what I mean? Any questions? All right. Let's move on to okay, I got some research for you guys. I hope you guys writing some of these things down. Research one local bank or credit union in your area. Call to ask about their business credit products. So this goes along for with the last step, the third step we just went over. And this will help you get things in line. Remember, those who fail to plan to fail. Write everything down. Anything in your head is just ideas. Once you put them down, is a plan. Once you start executing, you're reaching the goal, right? So that's how we work it. Alrighty. Let's talk about monitoring your business credit and scaling it to strategically get to where you want to get. All right, why monitoring matters. Business credit business credit reports can have errors, just like your personal credit can have error, right? This is why I recommend people for the personal as well. Always have a credit monitoring service. If you don't, go into the bio. I do have a 7 day $1 free trial. After that, it will be $24.99, and this is for personal. I do have one for business. Just shoot me a DM, and I'll give you that as well. But yes, there's always errors in the reports. It might be spelling errors, it might be pricing errors, it might be late payments, right? This is why you want to keep receipts and you want to have automatic payments. But yes, monitoring your credit ensures accuracy. And if you building something, to establish something, you want to make sure it's always correct. I wake up in the morning, the first thing I check is my bank account and my credit. These are the first thing I check, right? Before I do anything. Before Facebook, before I check social media or anything, I'm checking my bank account and I'm checking my credit, right? I want to make sure that everything's correct. I do this daily, every single day. I recommend everybody to do the same. Go in, check your credit score, check your report. You never know if there's any mistakes, if there's something that's in there that's messing you up, right? Let's say you got 6 months of putting in work and getting ready to line yourself up to get this 20,000 from
Hit
30,
don't
40,000.
hit. It'll be like, what?
Yeah,
Especially if you got everything back, you know, spit.
Microsoft Mo, I need you to mute
You can't
yourself.
nothing stop you now. Oh,
Alrighty. My bad, guys. So yeah, you gotta make sure you check that, because, like I was saying, if you line yourself up, you got 20, 30. You lining yourself up for 20, $30,000 credit cards or line of credit and things of this nature. The next thing you know, you have an inaccuracy of late payment history, or something didn't go in correctly, and next thing you know, this backs you up. And if you don't know, you don't check it, then now you did those 6 months for nothing. Now you go from trying to get a $30,000 line of credit to only getting $1,000, right? This is why checking your credit score matters. Use tools like Navi, which I will definitely. I'm gonna post all this up. So guys, just bear with me. I've been out the game for a little bit, dealing with a couple of personal things, but I definitely will be posting all these links on my bio. If I don't do it today, because it's already 9 something, I'll be doing it tomorrow. So go to tools like Navi or directly checking with Dun and Bradstreet. Right, if you started your business and you sold class one, you know that you could check your credit score from that point. You have experience for business and you have Equifax, which can help you track your progress, right? Scaling your credit. Once you establish tier one accounts, move on to tier two accounts like store cards, right? This is what I was talking about earlier, Bree. And the first vendors is like we mentioned, the Uline, kind of like online stores and things of that nature. Tier two, this is pretty much like credit cards, and you want to get like store cards, like Amazon will be one of them. Fuel car, like your gas, you know, things of that nature. And Home Depot, Lowe's, Best Buy, things of that. Costco, that would definitely be a good one, because Costco also, I believe Costco's car, you could use it personally too. So what I mean personally is like you could use it outside of Costco, and I believe it's a Mastercard. Eventually, working towards tier three, which includes higher limit loans and corporate cards. Right, so that's the goal. Like I mentioned from the very beginning, the whole purpose of this is to establish credit, because you want to be able to get to the last tier. You want to be able to get that corporate card. You want to be able to get high credit limits. You want to be able to get high, $100,000 loans and $50,000 loans, because this is how you'll be able to build assets. This is where you can now take this money, put it somewhere else that is going to generate money, and then you're paying it back. It doesn't matter what you're using it for, because at this point you're so high that you're generating money. So this is the whole purpose of this. Tier one, Uline, Grinder, Quill, things of that nature. Tier two, store cards, Best Buy, Amazon, fuel cards, um, and then working yourself up to higher credit cards, higher limits, higher loans, eventually a corporate card. Best practices: always pay on time, preferably early. Avoid over leveraging your card. This goes back to what we just mentioned from your question, Bree. You don't want to leverage the whole thing. You want to be able to always give room. You don't want to show the banks that you need this money. It's more like you want this money. All right, you're trying to grow the money to take your business to the next level. When you maxing out your cards, it's like, man, this person really needs money, and more than likely, if they fall short, they won't even have enough to pay back, right? Um, Also, guys, remember, you're establishing a business, you want to reinvest into your business using funds to obtain credit. So the more you invest back into the business, the larger your business looks. Remember this, when you go to the bank, you don't be like, hey, I need money. It's like, no, I'm trying to grow my business. Hey, I'm trying to take my business to the next level. Right? It always seems like, okay, this person's already established, but maybe you hit a roof, and now with more funds, we could take it to the next level, therefore ensuring more money is being generated. So invest back into your business. Always reinvest. The same way you do the drip for your stocks, right? You get dividends and then you do the drip, reinvest back into the stocks. Same way. You make some money, you reinvest. Make some money, reinvest. Eventually you get to the point that you don't even have to reinvest because there's so much money coming in, and you got so many different types of credit that you can now take that money and those funds and take it outside of the business and do bigger things with it, like establishing other businesses, opening up ATM, opening up your own food vendors or whatever it may be, and this will help you establish business and then grow some more. Right. Here's some pro tips. As your business credit portfolio grows, lenders will start offering you larger limits and better terms, right? Exactly what I just mentioned. Using this responsibility to scale your business. So the more you scale, the more you put in, the more the lender's going to say, hey, here's some more, right? The better it is, the larger your limits are, the better your terms would be, right? Because the more responsible you are, the better your terms will be. So you'll have better interest rate. You'll have zero interest rate for 12 months if so. It all depends on how you're doing, all right? Okay. When I get, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, I will be sending the Navi account. Excuse me. I will be posting the link in my bio in the Discord, so you'll be able to see it, and this will help you monitor your business. So go to Dun& Bradstreet, and then Navi. I'll give you the link, and I believe Navi right away, right off the rip, you could actually get a card with them. They're gonna report to the bureaus and automatically give you a credit card. Right, so Navi is great for monitoring, credit card, and reporting. Bonus step, leveraging business credit for growth. As your credit portfolio strengthens, you can start leveraging it to grow your own business. Here are a few steps to do that. Invest in equipment. Use a business loan or a credit card to purchase equipment that would increase efficiency and outputs. Expand marketing efforts. Use credit cards to fund larger advertising campaign to reach more customers. Right? Hire staff. Access credit to cover payroll for new employees as business scales. This goes back to what I was saying. The more you pour into the business, the more funds you'll be able to get, the more opportunities you'll be able to get. The more you put into the business, the more the business can do, the more the lenders and banks want to give you, right? Open new locations, use credit to expand operation to new areas. Here's a pro tip, guys. When leveraging credit, excuse me, always have a clear plan for how funds will generate and return on investment. So, like I mentioned before, those who fail to plan to fail. Make sure you write everything down. If it's in your head, it's just an idea. When you put it on paper, it's a plan. When you start taking steps towards it, is now the dream that you're going to start entering and walking into. All right, guys. Okay, here's some activities for you guys. Write down one specific way you can plan to use business credit to grow your business within the next 6 months. Like I mentioned earlier, in class one, I mentioned how you must have a business plan. Right? It's very crucial. It's important to have a business plan. And you could even add this into the business plan, right? Like I mentioned, as an investor, Let's say you present something to me, and I'm like, man, I love this idea, but what is this? What? How are you gonna get here? How are you gonna market? Who are you gonna market to? What's the age group? What's the gender? What region? How are you gonna get there? How are you gonna get this product from point A to point B? How much it's gonna cost you? Right? All this should be in your business plan. And this is crucial. Banks want to see this. The more you do this, the more established you look. Right? Uh, if you guys do want a blueprint on a business plan, DM me. Shoot me a DM or hit me up on the Credit Juggernaut chat, and we'll discuss that. And I'll send you a couple of blueprints that I have already. Any questions?
Nah, I'm gonna hit you up though.
You good? All right, so now before I end this session, I do want to wrap up. I got the floor open for any questions. Please feel free to ask anything. I got you covered today, or share specific challenges that you're having or that you're facing in your business. What, if you're already established and you're looking to go back to make sure that you have these things correct. If you're opening up a business or if you're thinking about a business, go ahead, ask any questions. I'm here to help, buddy. Anybody. Yes,
Hi,
yes. Go ahead. Sorry, who's
uh,
this?
Deb.
What's up, Deb? How you doing?
I'm great. How is everybody in here? I hope everybody's good.
We good. We blessed. Getting gems
Um,
here.
I kind of missed some things in the middle, but I know it's recorded, and I also missed the first one, so I will definitely be going back. But I'm in the middle of actually planning on starting two separate businesses. The beginning of February, and as far as like the first steps go, besides the basics, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. Would it be best if I just go back to the first video and just watch that over?
You can always go back. You can watch that video. It's gonna give you some more insights on how to properly structure the business from your name all the way to even getting funded. However, since you do have me here now, you could feel free to ask me whatever it is that you think that you need help, and then you could go back and watch the video to give you more clarification, where you could write things down or anything of that nature.
I've done like some extensive research. I've actually been on the middle of this for like I want to say the past year and a half. Um, it's actually like some real small. It's just like a vending machine type business. I'm in the middle of moving to Georgia, so I thought that'll be like something different for me. Because outside of that, I trade, so most of the money will be coming out of my personal pocket. Is there a big difference when it comes to funding yourself out of pocket versus getting funded through like a loan or anything? Or would it be
Ab-
best if I use my personal money?
Absolutely. So there's a major difference with that, right? We talked about that in the first class. So
Hmm.
yes, definitely go back and watch the video. But let me answer that question for you now. It's always best to utilize business credit, utilize other people's money, because if your business was to fail, right? Let's God forbid your business was to fail, and you use all your personal money, it's done. You used it all, you lost it. But if you use credit, you can always write that off as a loss or whatever it may be, and you can always start all over and with a new business name, new EIN, and things of that nature. So I will always say use other people's money, use the bank's money. So I do teach also personal credit, so you can also watch that video to help you kind of establish your business, your personal, to be able to use that as leverage for business. So if you already do have good credit, just make it a personal guarantor and be able to get the loan, and you could start off like that. Vendor machine is a very underestimated business. It generates a lot of money. It's stationary and it stays there. You don't have no employees. All you got to do is fill it up. So yes, I would suggest try to get a loan. And if you have to start off with one, then you start off with one. And if you don't make no money off of that, but you make enough to fund another vendor, then you do that until you get to that next level. But I would suggest using the bank's money.
Okay, that is like the greatest answer ever because like that means I have my head on straight because that's what I was thinking. My to lay everything on the table, I have 5 guaranteed locations. My biggest thing that I wanted to do was to make sure that with these being guaranteed, I wanted to make sure I have the vending machines for them. So would it be best if I was to just go ahead and look at those loan options ahead of time so that I can
Correct.
go ahead and get that started instead of using my personal money? Because using my personal
Yes.
money, I only have enough to maybe get 3
Yes,
started.
yes. I would do a business plan according to what you already have,
Hmm.
how much the vending machines cost, what you're going to
Hmm.
put in it, how often do you believe you're going to be replenishing them,
Hmm.
putting the location. You have all this written down. You go to the bank, you present these things. You say, look, I already have locations. I already know how much I'm going to make. I already know how much I'm going to spend. And more than likely, they're gonna say, okay, well, let's see how your credit is, and if your credit is pretty decent, like I said, above 680, they should give you a loan to be able to start the process, and like that, you'll start with all five.
Okay.
All right,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. If like I said before, you could always go to the my bio, or I believe is in the Zoom meetings, the Zoom recordings, which I'll be dropping this either tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. But if you go to the Zoom meetings, you'll be able to see the class for the first business credit, which is establishing the business, and then the personal credit, which is help you, because they kind of go hand in hand, even though they separate.
Okay.
Alrighty. Any other questions? That was an awesome question, by the way.
I have one like more question.
I hope you have 10 more, Bree. You know I love your questions now.
Okay, so whenever like we are building the LLC, right? Is it better to fill out the paperwork yourself or to utilize like a company like ZenBiz or LegalZoom just to kind of make sure everything in the documentation is always correct? Because I know, well, through research I've seen, if you have to, if you need to make any changes or updates, then you have to go through this whole amendment process.
That this
Like, is
not
it
is.
just better?
I'm sorry, Bree. Go ahead, finish.
Nah, I'm just saying, is it better to like fill it out yourself, or could you just utilize a company to do it?
This is what I suggest. I suggest that you do it yourself. One, you're gonna be hands on. Two, you're gonna learn and you're gonna understand, which is key factors, right? So when you go fill up other applications, you're gonna be like, let me see if they could do it. You know what I mean? If you're hands on and you're learning and you know exactly what to write, like I said, just go back to the class. You see exactly step by step. You take a picture of that and you just check them off. Be like, okay, I got the right name. Okay, I got my EIN. Okay, I got the right email. Once you go through that checklist, you know exactly what you need. I would suggest you fill that up yourself. Don't be scared. You know what? And just to answer you and Ron at the same time, you don't be afraid of an amendment. It's only like $10, $20, and all you're doing is saying, "Hey, I'm changing the address because this is the new address." And to be honest with you, you're gonna be doing amendment every 3 to 4 years because everything always changes. Either your address change, or you adding new emails, or maybe you got a brick and mortar now, whatever it may be. So don't be afraid of it. It's not that crazy. You got this. I believe in you. I know you got it. So just go hands on. Don't worry about it.
All
And
right,
for
thank you.
yeah, you good. And for Ron, does it matter if I change the name and address of my LLC? It does not matter. However, if for the banks, later on they're gonna say you're gonna have to kind of close that. Let's say you have um your old name, whatever it may be. Let's say ronshoes.com, right? If you change it now, when you go to the bank, you more than likely they're gonna close the bank account that you have with them and they're gonna reopen up a new bank account. Therefore, kind of taking away the history of that business account being open. But if it's not a big change, then it's just a small amendment. Then especially the name. This is why I tell everybody, make sure you have the proper name. Right? You want to pick a generic name, a name that kind of doesn't say what you do, because um, you could do whatever with that, right? You could go get a real estate loan with that business. But if I'm doing credit juggernaut, I'm only going to get loans for credit. It minimizes me. So you want to be able to have a generic name right? Where you could do multiple businesses under that name, right? I could do, Bree Construction, right? That will only stick to construction. But if I put Breeze Enterprise, then I could put construction under that business. I could do real estate under that business. I could do transportation under that business. I could do a whole bunch of different things with that business. And the longer the history of that business is, the more you will be approved for. So instead of having to change your name every so often, just pick a generic name and then add to that business. And then later on, you could just open up another LLC and just add to that business as well. So you don't have to keep changing and changing and changing. That's why the first step of that class one is picking the proper name. And like I mentioned in that name, in that video, go to namecheck.com. You keep typing in different names until you get that right name. It's going to check all the platforms. It's going to check everywhere to make sure that name is not being taken or utilized. Okay, they will be talking to you, but it's asking the same question. Yes, for sure, Thomas. They will. These are the same questions the banks are asking. Yes, big difference. Please use their money. Yes, use their money. It's not that difficult. Mean as far as the length of time a business has been established. So yeah, that's why I'm changing the name so I can add another LLC under it. Um, how can I answer that? Yes, I mean, if you just want to open up another LLC, just continue to use that. Listen, you don't have to be stuck to one LLC. You could have 10 different LLCs. You could have 20 different LLCs. Um, I have an LLC that I've been active for 5 years, and I don't even use it because of the name, and I never chose to change the name. But every so often, I have things under it, or I put things under it just for protection. It's not something that I give to anyone, but I do have my main business and my main name that I use all the time.
Can I add to that
Yeah,
as well?
yeah, of course.
Um, okay, yes, we were talking about older business. I had a business. I think I started it like in 2008, maybe, and I just kept the name, but I didn't do anything with the business. I closed the business down, but I just kept it. Um, and because I had that business that long, I was able to get a larger amount of credit. So, like you say, just and it's easy to do the little name thing. I mean, your business. So it's probably easier if you've had it a long time to just do another LLC, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I agree with that. Just go ahead and open up a whole new LLC. I don't know where you at, Rob, but in Florida, it's about $125. I believe no other states does more than 200. New York might be one of the most expensive one. But yeah, you just start a whole brand new one. Keep that one active, and if you ever need it, just use it for loan purposes. One of my mentors that I learned a lot from, he has like 75 businesses. And what he does is he just opens up businesses all the time. And then later on, he'll just sell you a business, right? And then you just amend the name. But the length of history is there. The history of the business has been open. So now it looks like you have had a business for 5 years. You know what I mean? So just keep it and just open up another one, whatever it takes. Go ahead, Bree. I see you. You don't even have to. You don't even have to raise your hand. Just unmute yourself.
Okay. So in my state in South Carolina, right, it's required to have a registered agent. Do you recommend being your own registered agent? And can you like cuz I know it said something about like you have to be available during all business hours and basically for legal purposes if they need to serve you documentation, someone has to be at that address to I guess, receive those documents, but don't you want to keep your name separate from like the business from what I gathered from that first video?
So yes, you can be your own registered agent, but then it kind of messes up the whole purpose of the LLC, which the LLC is used to for obviously limited liability. So you want to protect yourself. and you want to kind of remain anonymous as much as you can. Um, there are, I believe, iPostal does it where you could do it with the same virtual office, and I believe it's like an additional $50 or something like that for the whole year, and and all they doing is just pretty much receiving legal documentations. That's it. So like whenever you have to re-register every year, if you're getting fined or lawsuit, or if the IRS is trying to reach you, anything of that nature, it's not necessarily like a big deal, but for the purpose of the LLC, I would recommend for you to get a registered agent. It's worth it in the long terms because I don't want you guys to ever think small. I want you guys to always think big and remember that your business is gonna blow up. You're gonna be a multi-million-dollar company. You're gonna be a big establishment. You're gonna have multiple employees, and you don't want nothing to happen. And then it's like, oh, let's go after her, right? You
Right.
want to be able to lay. It's like layers of protections.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think that's my last question I had wrote down. Thank you.
Like, hey, Bree, I hope you got 10 more, man. You know I love it. I told you guys I feed off your questions. Dad, what would be the best place or places to start looking for business loans? I currently have Navy Federal account that I've had for over a year asking because I do plan on getting the ball rolling. Man, listen, Navy Federal is one of the best credit unions you could have. They actually work with people directly. They work with they kind of have their own system where they kind of welcome you in as a family. So the longer you've been with them, the more they work with you. They kind of have their own credit system within Navy Federal. So yes, Navy Federal will be a great one. I will go with that. That will be a credit union, and then I will go look for either a regional bank, whatever small bank in that area will be. And yes, just like Thomas said, they give large loans. So the longer you've been with them, the better. Um, do you already have a business account with them, or is that just personal?
Just personal. Like when I tell you I'm starting from zero, I'm starting from zero. The only thing I have is the knowledge beforehand because I've been establishing this information beforehand before I start. I consider myself a jack of all trades, so I attempt to do the most research before I jump head in on anything. Because once I start, I try to like get everything going. That's why I have my locations at these spots already before I even started it.
Okay, that's good. I would recommend to open up a business account, but I would,
Hmm.
like I said, go over to the first video. That's
Hmm.
gonna help you establish the business correctly. So when you do go
Hmm.
to the bank, you just say, look, here's my documentations. I'm looking to open up a bank, and here's my business plan. Can you guys help me with a small business loan? And let me tell you something, Deb, because nobody ever says that saying right. A jack of all trades is a master of none. Over time, better than a master of one. So being a jack of all trade is better than being a master of one. Remember that.
Thank you.
That's awesome. They give large amounts. That's major. Any
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I think that was Deb. It's good that you're listening in on the class, and he's doing a phenomenal job. But don't be like I was. I mean, I tried to get everything perfect. And I always had something else that was missing. And it was really because I was afraid to try. So it took me a long time. But once I jumped out, it happened, and it was pretty big considering. So um yeah, I just wanted to say that to encourage anybody, not just Deb, all of us. Like he was saying, we're gonna go big on it.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. I'll stay here for another 2 hours if you guys let me. I love it. Any more questions?
No, no more questions. I just wanted to Thank Miss Robbie for sharing that information because I'm the same way. It's like I want to have this perfect or this perfect or this perfect, but I mean, the more that you try to make perfect, the longer that time is going to pass you by. So I just really appreciate you sharing that.
I want to use a stock analogy here, man. When I first started trading options and trading stocks and all that things, man, I went dumb. I went crazy. I went into 100 different strategies. I read a whole bunch of different books. I try to do everything that I saw on the internet. I'm talking about my chart looked like Picasso, man. Like I had lines everywhere. It wasn't until I actually started digging in when I started realize like, man, I don't need this. I don't need this. Man, what is this here for, man? Let me get this out of here. Man, let me put this over here. Okay, now it's like I only have one or two strategies, and that's what I look for. That's all I want. I'll make my plays based off those strategies. I say that to say you really never know until you actually start digging in. Once you start taking those steps, is when you realize, like, man, I was waiting and I was going crazy, giving myself anxiety for no reason. Now I understand that all I need is to do this step and then this step and then this step, and I'm there. So yeah, don't be afraid, man. That's why I encourage you guys. Ask questions, write them down, DM me. You see, Bree, how many times have you hit me up? You know, I pick up, I'll call you. Hey, what's up? Talk to me.
Yeah, a ton, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So don't be afraid, man. Just take the step. Go to the bank, ask the questions. What's the worst can you get? A no? Okay, then you move on to the next one. And guess what? Even if they tell you no, you will understand why they told you no. And now your job is to go and correct that no. So then you come back and say, look, I no longer have this. So what about now? So right, you won't know until you get that no. You want to get 100 no's. There's a number of no's until you get that right yes. Someone taught me this, and I always say this to everybody. All you have to do is be right one time. That's it. Just be right one time, and you're in the door. So just keep trying, keep fighting. Don't ever give up. Just keep pushing. You gotta have that spirit in you. That you gotta remember, you're not just doing this for you. This is you're starting it off, but it's not just for you. You know, some of us have family members that you might want to put them on, or you might want to retire your mom, or you might just want to have a better retirement, or you might want to just have kids and leave them knowledge and generational wealth. It might be like everybody has their reasons. So all you got to do is just get out there. That's it. Put on your coat, put on your boots, strap them on, let's go to war. That's it. It's not that difficult, to be honest with you. All right, any questions? More questions, I'll take them. No. All right, Rob, you got your answer. You got your answers. Deb, Bree,
I
Thomas,
don't have any
anybody?
now, but I know I'll be back with more.
Yes, man. And like my channel, man. I got a whole bunch of gems there. All right. Here we go, man. I'm gonna give you guys let's have some takeaways. Start small with vendor credit and build a positive payment history. Leverage business credit cards to grow your portfolio. Build relationship with local lenders for long-term success. Monitor your credit regularly and scale strategies. Your action plans. Apply for a new vendor account or business credit this week if you haven't gotten started. Like I said, this class is for those that already kind of got the ball rolling. Reach out. These are things that I want you guys to do. Reach out to your local banks or credit union to start a relationship. You will call first and then you will show up. Right? Set up tools like Navi to monitor your credit progress. Write down a 6 month plan to leverage credit card to grow your business. Let's put this knowledge into action and take your business to the new heights. All right. I want to say thank you. If you guys have no more questions, I'll give you guys another couple of seconds. All right. Thank you guys for joining today. This was a dope session. I loved all the questions. I hope you guys found this information valuable. I hope it's actionable for you guys. Remember, build business credit is a journey. It requires patience, consistency, and most importantly, strategy. But the reward is all worth it. Trust me. All right. Let's put this knowledge into action. Take your business to the new heights. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you guys. And I want to hear more success stories. I think that's where I thrive at. I thrive in hearing you guys telling me, yo, I did this. I got here. I'm here now. I got this loan. I'm in the next stage, whatever it may be. That's where I get my heart filled when I hear you guys telling me your success stories. So, like I said before, man, don't be afraid. Keep pushing, man. Push, push, push. Push and push some more. If you think you need to give up, you push some more. Don't ever give up, right? That's what life is about. Right? The human body has no limits. We are supposed to thrive, right? I know some of you guys are tired of surviving. Let's thrive. You got to dig in your bag. You got to dig deep, and you just got to keep pushing. I'm with you guys. Have any questions? DM me. Drop whatever a comment in my channel. If some of you guys got my number, hit me up directly, whatever it may be. I'm here for you guys. What I do want for you guys is for you guys to go back into the Discord, show your boy some love. Make sure you tag me. Tell them if this thing fed you and gave you some food for thoughts. Just show me some love in the Discord. The more people come, the more questions we have, the more information you guys will get. All right. And like I said before, let me say this one more time. I might be doing one more class after this on business credit, and then the rest will be for the MBA family. Everything else will be free, like the personal class. I would be doing a funding class in the near future. But right now, the business credit, one more class, and after that, it's going to go private into the MBA family classes. Only for MBA family members. I'm sorry. All right. Any other questions before I say goodbye?
No, just want to thank you for all the information. And I know I got a ton of questions, but you offer a ton of support. So I really do appreciate it. And if I
Yeah, for
run
sure.
into some issues, I'll hit you up. Thank you
Yeah,
so
for
much.
sure, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much for being here, for taking the time out of your day. All right. All right, guys. Peace and love. You guys have an amazing night. Thank you so much. Peace.